welcome to the Paris Wedding Show.
Thank you, Naïm, for having me.
Thank you for the invitation. We are in the Chateau Bouffémont, and you made this happen because you know this chateau very well. We're going to go through this afterwards. But first of all, for the audience and for everyone who doesn't know you, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us more about you?
Yes, for sure. So I am Marie Di Lauro, the owner of the wedding planning agency Momento Mio. I built the agency in 2018 in order to help couple from everywhere in the world planning their wedding in France, especially in Paris, but also in France, French Riviera, and also in Italy.
In Italy as well. Yeah, maybe you can tell us a bit more about the name Momento Mio, which is not French.
It's not French. It's Italian. Yes.
So, if you want to tell us about this, why is it called Momento Mio?
Actually, that's a good question. you need to find a name, and I was thinking that I didn't want to have like a traditional name like other company can have. And I was thinking like what make me different from the other wedding planner. And my father is Italian, so I really have like that Italian side inside of my family. So I choose to go on that way.
Good. I really like it, and I find it very sweet. So it means my moment.
Exactly.
In Italian, if I'm not wrong.
I was thinking that even for people that don't speak Italian, you can understand. So that's why I choose that.
I really like the intimate side of it, and we've been working with many weddings together, and I find it very intimate the way that you are working with your couples. Do you want to talk about it a little bit? How do you start? Where do you start?
Yes, for sure. So this is also why I choose doing weddings. This is because you really have like a particular connection with the couples. You really create something that makes sense. So where I start, like with the couple, we just start usually about discussing about like what they want to build, what is really like their dream wedding, what can we have in France, if it's more like in Paris, in south of France, what type of venue would match better with their expectation, and what can I provide, like what service are they expecting. And like that we discussed, and we also discussed about like what's the vibe that they're looking for. Like a wedding is so special that you need to be really connected with all the vendors that are going to work with you, especially a wedding planning that is like 1 year, something like that.
Yes.
Sometimes it's really short, it can be like 2 or 3 months, and sometimes it can be really longer, like 2 years, but usually you spend a lot of time with your wedding planner. So you need to have a connection.
How do you adapt? I was thinking about what you were saying. How do you adapt, for example, with organized couple? It's usually not a problem. Or organized couples in the matter of timing, like 1 year or more in advance. This is okay. But you signed the wedding in August, I remember, and it was happening like what, 1 month after?
Yes. So it really depends.
Okay.
So managing the couple first really goes with like the couple, I would say. We have some couple that are working a lot and that really doesn't have time. And depending to that, after all they want to be really involved, in that case, if they have really not so much time to do the wedding planning process, I will recommend that they have more time to plan the wedding. Sometimes we have some people that come and say like, okay, I just want something like in a chateau with the white theme flowers, good food, and like they shop 1 month or 2 months after, and they just discover the wedding almost as a guest. Yes. Yes. Okay. So after they can come sometimes, and there is some couple that are like really, really quick. And after I have some couple really like that I really need to follow a lot, to reach out a lot because they're really busy by work. So they're really less available. So we adapt according to that. Some couple really need to discuss every day. Some couple
every day.
Yes, and there is some couple like if they don't like if I don't arrest them, they are not going to answer to me.
Oh, yeah,
I need to remind them like you have a wedding, like we need to plan the wedding.
You're getting married next summer.
Exactly, exactly. So I will say that if the couple really wants to choose every details and they're like really busy with work that we need a long time for the planning, And sometimes I have some couple that even if it's in 2 months, maybe like they don't work or they have like a lot of availability at that time. So we spend 2 months like together. So for sure, it creates after like a link that is forever. Yes.
Very symbiotic. I can tell many times when I see weddings on the day, there's always this special connection with the bride and the wedding planner most of the time.
Sometimes it's the groom. It's rare. Like honestly, it's really rare. But sometimes we have the groom. Like I almost don't speak to the bride. Like the groom is really deciding and like about everything, meeting all the meetings.
Okay.
Yes, it's rare. I would say maybe like one wedding on 15 or 20, but sometimes it happens.
All right. Yeah. Okay. This happened to me as well on the ceremony side. And the MC part, but yeah, I was always thinking that the bride will be the symbiotic friend with the planner. So you're flexible. You are able to meet expectations for 1 year in advance and also 2 months. But how do you feel that? It's through communications with the bride and the couples.
Exactly.
You feel the vibe directly?
Yes, exactly. After, I think it's really, I really want to meet all my couple. Sometimes, of course, not in real life because they're often in United States or in some other countries, but at least by video chat. For me, first, to see like what they're looking for and if what I provide, the type of vendor that I'm working with, go with their expectation, but also for them. Like honestly, they need to feel like a wedding can be really stressful, and why we are here, this is to take out all the stress, and this is to make them really trustful during all the process. So they need to trust me, to have a good connection with me, and to really enjoy the planning process. So I think that they need to really choose me, not because just they need a planner, they need to be like really convinced that I'm the right person.
I agree. And we were talking about this right before we started this episode together. There's so many, the market is growing a lot. Weddings in France, weddings in Europe, etc. So there's a lot of new actors and wedding planners and all the wedding vendors. So if you don't build this connection, I think you're just a vendor. You know?
Exactly.
You need to have this plus, and you're finding this through a video chat. I do that as well. I think it's important that we both fit with the couple. I always say, look, we're making this video call right now, and you already know if you want me to be your celebrant or not, and it's fine. It's great like that. You know, there's many other officiants, there's many other wedding planners. Everyone is doing their own thing, and they have their own way of thinking. And I think it's when we're together that the industry is getting better. So.
Yes.
This is good. How do you manage this? This is something that I cannot do. How do you manage all the elements of wedding planning? When we work together, I always see you running, but you're not stressed. You're running all around the chateau, for example, here, and you're always smiling, and you're divided between English for the guests and French for some vendors. How do you do that? What's the secret?
I think that first it's also when you get used to do that, you know. I think also when you are wedding planner, this is that you like. Then there is like a lot of movement and like thing like I hate to be like no, you're not doing anything. I feel like something is missing. I would say like the worst part, this is like when everybody is like dancing and you just have to wait and you don't have anything to do. So like even if it's like 2 a.m., I prefer to start like, I don't know, do other things, but like just wait for
Work
not doing nothing. Yes, exactly. So it's just that after you are like really focused into like what you're doing, and I know that I made that to you like a lot of time also that season. Like for example, I know that like during the weddings, I'm not really having like chat with the vendors and things like that, because I'm really like focused. About everything that is going to happen. I think that if I start like being in focus for like 20 minutes or something like that, it's just going to move all my planning. So I know that sometimes I can be a little bit like sharp on that. But yes, this is why we are here, and we love working with all the vendors. With like, I don't know, like all the elements, it's also after, maybe because there is a huge part that people don't see actually in the planning. Like when I'm going on a wedding, I know exactly what is going to happen, like minutes by minutes.
Timeline.
And this is something
that.
that have been worked on to be efficient.
Yes.
And also I know my timeline, like I have it in my mind.
Yes.
Like I don't even need to watch my planning and things like that.
Yeah, you know
so like for
happen.
like 1 week, I really just work on the timeline to have something that is efficient and things like that. For sure, sometimes we look to be sure and to have like some information.
Yeah.
But this is why we are like also like, and how we were managing, there is no secret. It's just like about organization, actually. Because sometimes some couple, you know, that take for the wedding day coordination, think that you're just going to show up on the coordination of the wedding day. But once it's done and you're on the wedding day, we say you don't have anything to do anymore, except checking that everything is going as planned, but everything has to be planned before.
Yeah, no, I mean, for those who don't know, the timeline, I have a background in hospitality and events, so I love timelines, you know, always like the Bible for us.
That's nice to have vendors like that. A lot of
Yeah.
vendors don't even read the timeline.
No, I asked for it. This is like a straight rundown of what's going to happen minute by minute, the preparation of the bride, the arrival of the guest, the arrival of the hair and makeup artist, the arrival of everyone, then the ceremony, etc. All of this is run down into a PDF, which is very clear, by the way, and this is really what's needed to after that have the room for improvisation and some fun maybe. But the timeline is really the spine of the event. I agree with that.
And I will say after also the timeline, it really depends about like the type of wedding. When you have like a more intimate wedding with like less animation and this type of thing, we also learn, like, honestly, believe me, at the beginning I was not like that. Like 20 minutes of delay for me was something like bad.
Yeah,
and sometimes it is when you have weddings with a lot of guests, with a lot of like, let's say that for example you have like a firework that you can shoot until like 11 p.m. When you take 1 hour of delay, it can be something that can like be really difficult to manage inside of the planning. When you don't, I also learned that okay, let the flow goes, and like if we can adapt, this is why we are here actually. Like we are here to help the couple and to really manage their time for them to enjoy the day. So if they say okay, like I'm good outside, the weather is great, I want to stay at the cocktail 1 more hour and we can do it, of course, let's do it.
But you need to have this little room for flexibility.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing. And when you start the process with a couple, so they sign a contract, they start everything, but what do you have requirements in terms of communication? Because some people, I'm talking about the American side of things, but most of all, American people are sometimes not used to the way that we do things in France or in Europe, and vice versa. And especially on the communication thing, many couples told me that we couldn't hear from our planner for 1 week or 2 weeks, and we're worried that something happened. So how do you manage that? Are you on board, communicating straight with them?
I'm way too much on my phone. That's true. I spend my whole time, and you see me, I think I'm always on my phone, always. After it, and that's not a good thing. Like that's not a good thing. I really have that feeling like first thing that I'm doing, I'm still like, I'm in my bed, I'm watching my phone and I'm checking everything. This is like, and when you work with also like American couple or like even Australian couple, you don't have the same hours. I think that is really important to stay in communication with the couple. I also try sometimes to explain them that like, if I don't reach them for 2 weeks, this is because I'm waiting to have some information to give them before that I'm reaching them. So I think it's just about like explain them what we're doing, what is the timeline that we're going to work on. Let's say, okay, like during these 3 next months, we will have to book those vendors when we will be like available to do meetings and things like that. But let's say that because I don't have, I'm not working with just like 3 venues, for example. So I cannot say, okay, which venue do you want? So sometimes on the venue recommendation, regarding what they're expecting, because sometimes you have some couple that will tell me, okay, I'm open to Paris, to south of France, and to Italy.
Oh my God, yeah, that's large.
Oh yes. So, and I would like to have maybe like a venue for one day, but also maybe a wedding, like a venue for 3 days, or one day in a hotel on the side. So you come with like 20 suggestions
20
at least, or something
I mean,
like that.
It's not that big. When you want to have your wedding in Europe and you want to spend, for example, 2 or 3 days in Paris and then maybe on the French Riviera for the wedding, and then a last goodbye 2 days weekend with your friend in Italy, this is possible.
Yes.
But they don't see this, which is normal. They don't see all
Exactly.
the logistics
Exactly.
that you have in
and
your
it's
hands.
just not up to us, because
Of
we
course.
need to make like a large like venue selection, to contact them, to see like, because
It's a
we're not
big
just
process.
coming with them, oh, like that venue look beautiful. No, we need to be sure to have all the information about the venue, to know like about the prices, about like the pros and the cons. Let's say that, okay, that venue will allow you to party until 1, that venue will allow to party until 3, there is furniture on site, there is no furniture on site, there is like a backup plan, like all those information that we need to find. And then after, so for sure, for a lot of venue, we have them. But after, venue also make some renovation, some changements. So we always,
Need to
every
stay on
season,
top,
it needs to recheck about all those information, to select, to combine them in order to present them. So in 2 days, I cannot tell you like, okay, here are the venues.
Yeah, that's why.
So we need
easy.
sometimes, and actually this is what we say, like we're of course selling an expertise, but we're also selling a lot of time.
Time, absolutely. Because as every service in the world that looks easy, it's very difficult before.
Exactly.
When it's easy, there's usually a lot of work. So this is what you're, this is also what you're paid for, is, and the connections and the network. At the end, you know all the vendors, you know all the venues, you know.
We have for sure. Like let's say that if I have like a couple that call me and like that is really like short time and tell me like, okay, Marie, like I need a chateau at that date. Like in I would say in 20 minutes, I will have on the phone all the chateau and know, because we know everyone.
Yeah.
So we have like the direct number of everyone, and like they're like really quick with us because they're used, that make things more easier, that when you need to sign an email, when you need to first look at the chateaus, because when I have a couple that told me, okay, we have like 100 people, we want rooms on site and not being like 1 hour more than Paris, like in our head, we already have like the
filters,
list. Exactly.
Just like the search on the
exactly.
search engine, your wedding planner search engine. And what is your background? Because it looks like you're flexible, you have a lot of creativity, I know that. And you're very good at communicating. So what did you start? What was your first career?
So actually, I made my studies into like communication and event.
Okay.
But first, I wanted to work in like the fashion industry.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I work on a corporate company first for events. So I was more planning seminary. Anniversary from the company and this type of event.
Corporate, B2B.
Exactly.
Yeah. Incentives, maybe.
Yes,
kind of thing.
exactly.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Yes.
Great industry.
Yes.
Very
really nice.
formative.
It's really nice.
I like it.
It's quick. It's like you have a budget. You come with things like that, and for sure, the wedding industry is not the easiest one.
Oh my God, no.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
You
it's
have.
art.
It's
There's
on
a
both
lot of-
sides. Yes, you have more work. It's more complicated, but at the end, you also have like a more satisfaction effect, I would say. You're doing something that really that exactly.
Yeah, it means a lot. The meaning of a wedding is very important. It speaks to a lot of people, different cultures. It's always the same. Engage yourself and create something more than just you. It's you and one person creating another world, and then a family. It doesn't matter if it's religious or not, or any type of culture. But yeah, wedding has a lot of sense. Much different than corporate.
Yes.
It's another story. I also have this background of events and hospitality, and I created a lot of my experience with the B2B world. I think it's very good. What did you learn, except that it goes fast? What did you like in this first career?
Honestly, I really like it, and it was really nice. I liked a lot of things, and it learned me a lot of things. I think that like there is not really like school about like wedding planning in France and things like that. You can have some formation. I actually made one of like 2 weeks.
You created one?
No,
or
no, no,
you
no, no.
studied
I
one?
studied
Okay,
one
I was like, whoa.
after. So because after that I
Momento
went.
Mio Academy.
No, no. Maybe one day.
Maybe.
Because after that, I went in the fashion industry for a short time, but I left because I didn't like the ambience.
Oh, I can understand
and
that.
I was like, what can be like in between?
Oh, okay.
Between like event, but something really fashion and like, so I was like, okay, weddings. You can create beautiful things. You have that fashion vibe, but you're still doing like creating event. And before to start, I wanted to do something. So I made like a little formation, but for sure it was not like, I would say it was the same thing that I learned during my studying.
Yeah.
So it really trained me like what I made before about like how to plan an event.
Yeah, that's.
And for a lot of people, and like what were the things that you think about like how to negotiate, about like dealing with contracts, timelines.
Definitely.
And also on the event day, how you need to act and what are your expectations regarding the vendors and things like that.
What do you watch when everything goes smooth, like most of the time? What do you watch, telling yourself, Marie, what could go wrong, without falling into the paranoia of overstress?
If you knew what was going into my mind sometimes, I'm like imagining things that could not even happen.
Yeah.
But
which
like
is your job actually.
Yes, but sometimes it's like way too much. I'm thinking like, don't think that like it's not going to happen. Like it really depends. It's just that like you always need to be like really focused on but like what's the next step. So you're always looking on that. Let's say like a ceremony, when you do the ceremony, it's like between 20 to 30 minutes. Even if we work with like really involved and professional vendors, they're always counting on us to have like the top of what's the next step. So when you're finalizing like usually the ceremony, what I'm doing, this is I'm saying to the musician, okay, you're going to play in like 5 minutes, please like be ready. Cleaning like the setup, let's say that, okay, they have the drinks, for example, and they're going to put it on the table. Like they're not like maybe going to see it. So I'm going to see it like clean to be sure that after the ceremony, when they arrive to the cocktail, everything is going to be ready, that I'm sure that I'm going to open the door that is beyond the ceremony when they're going to exit, asking to the caterer to prepare the champagne, like all of that. Yes.
Like a boat. I have this impression, talking about boats, that the wedding planning and the service world is changing. Back in the days when I was younger, I remember I was working in great restaurants, great hotels, and you always have this kind of hierarchy kind of things where you had the restaurant director or the maitre d' on top acting like he wasn't doing nothing. So the waiter, me and my friend's waiter, were like, why is this guy doing nothing? Of course, he was not doing nothing. He was doing something that we could not understand or not seeing at the moment. And it was a very, hierarchy kind of way to do things. I realized that now it's changing because you are the captain of the boat, but you're also going down into the tubes and working, because I see you always like handling things and with your assistant, with Kara. How do you manage to do this at the same time? Because you have the vision, but also you have to go into the weeds of the real day to day.
The thing is that you really need to check around you, like, and pay attention to all the details. I know that sometimes there is some vendors that, so I will say not so much now, but when I start, it was more like the wedding planner, like why you here? Like we know how to do our job, and like we don't need you and things like that. I think there is two things. First is now like the vendors who we are working with know exactly what are our expectations. So it also makes things like way easier because they know like what's the level that we want to reach in terms of service, of experience for our couple. In terms of details,
of course.
For example, like they know that, okay, we don't want to see like one cable, like from but it's not obvious for everyone. There is some couple or some vendors that will be okay with that. I'm not like crazy. Sometimes, okay, it's okay, you know. But like, and yes, of course, like I think for me, it's really like, this is how I envision things. I'm not saying that this is the good thing for sure. I think that sometimes you really give like a lot, but like, I'm going to say something that is not glamorous. But like, for example, when I'm going to the toilet because I need to go during a wedding, I'm always going to clean them.
Yeah, of course.
Like the bathroom and like the thing like that. And it's not my job. I'm not like for that. But like, I see like, okay, it doesn't look nice. I need to redo everything nice, you know? Because this is why I'm here for. I'm here for everything to being like perfect. Same like I'm like walking like on the room and I saw there is like a napkin on the floor. I'm going to take it. I'm not just going to leave it like that.
No, it's more difficult, I think, for you as a wedding planner to really not make a mistake, because, for example, vendors like me, we count on ourselves, like in the way, like you're not gonna do the ceremony at my place, you know. So I do my thing, I try to do it best, and that's it. But you, it's different. You have a huge responsibility that if I fail, it will be my failure, but it will be yours too.
This is why it is great when you're like also working with like trustful vendors.
Yeah, you need trust.
Yes. Like, and I will say that when you like after really surrounded by trustful vendors, like it also make the pressure like less, because you know that they're going to be on the top of what they can provide, and that you don't have to be like behind them. Okay, like, are you going to arrive on time? Are you going to look professional when you're going to arrive? Are you going to be polite with people?
No, but this is so many things.
But that makes things way easier for us. You know, sometimes when you arrive on planning and you have like a vendor that is not acting like I don't know, like that go like on the buffet or like go and have a drink and things like that. Sometimes the couple are okay with that, and like I'm totally fine with that. Like if they're okay because they know that person and things like that. But sometimes it can put us like in that tricky position because we don't know what they discuss with the couple. But after, when you have serious vendor that comes and that like are efficient and know exactly what they have to do, it makes things way more easier for us.
It reminds me of something that I do actually. I have this really like you old school kind of things, way to do things. Like every couple invites me for a drink and to stay at the buffet after the ceremony just because they're happy, you know. But I always have this tendency to think like, okay, I feel friendly with them because they're my couple and all that. We have a professional relationship that pours into a personal, but I'm not their friend, and I don't want to be perceived as one of the guests, you know, and I don't want to look unprofessional.
Yes.
Maybe it's a bit too rigorous, but I feel like it. And I always, I don't lie, but I always say like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna drive, which is true. So I prefer you to cheer to with a glass of champagne later on, and I wish you the best. But I agree with what you could feel like, you know, there is this limit that sometimes it's hard to put up, you know.
Yes. After it really depends how, and like I'm not so like strict about that. Even me, sometimes I take a drink. It's really not like a lot. It's usually like at the end of the night that I take like a drink. But I say that actually because it reminded me like it was one of my first wedding coordination that happened. Like the photographer during the cocktail was doing the line for having like finger food, and I tell him like 2 times like people are waiting for you to take pictures. So it's okay, like you want water, you go at the bar and ask for like a glass of water for sure. Like we're not going to be crazy about that. Like you are here to work, thing like that. But doing the line to like have the food of the guest, this is not what you are here for. You are here to work.
Definitely, This is depends on the person actually.
Yes.
You never know, you know. But in the event world, you can see a lot of things. But a wedding is for me. You were talking about before about is this person is gonna come on time? Is he gonna be polite? There's so many unknowns things. Sometimes I'm driving to a wedding and I'm like, there's so many elements that could go wrong. We could have an accident. We could have someone, I don't know, anything. And I'm just one vendor. So I'm putting myself on your shoes and I'm like, how is she? I should do that, you know.
You just,
it would be hard for
honestly, I would say that something that really helped me after is just like, I'm always saying to myself and also to the couple, like, you're here with the people that you love, you're going to get married, you have your closer ones around you. So sometimes, even if something happened that it's not like perfect, like it will not change that moment. And don't forget why you're here. This is not to have like magnificent flowers or like, of course, that go with that. And we are like lucky. I don't want bad luck, but like,
knock on wood.
not like bad things after. Like, okay, sometimes it can be like a little bit of rain and it was not like planned. This is not what is going to ruin the fact that you love each other for all your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that moment, you know,
agree.
it's really about like the vibe and how do you create the moment and how do you envision things.
I agree.
Like
really.
the classical thing is like the champagne cascade that falls, you know. And like anytime that it arrived, I saw people like they're like just laughing about that. Like it's so funny and that's it. You know, like
absolutely. I remember I've been working with many couples, and the bride was normally, which is normal, she was a bit stressed before the event, and she was, you know, like, oh no, we could do this, we could do, oh no, we have a problem with that, or it might rain on the day, this kind of thing. And on the day, when everything goes well, and for example, there is a big fail, for example, maybe the cake is about to fall, or this kind of thing. Instead of having a terrified reaction, she would be like, whatever, let's have champagne, we're in France.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't matter. But you need people around you, wedding planners and vendors that you trust and that can make your, you have to have a vibe. The vibe is very important.
It's also, you're also, I would say, really like support by the energy also of the vendors. When you have like, it's not the same thing when you arrive on on the wedding day and vendors are just coming to you because, oh, like, how can we do that? Oh no, I'm not okay with that. Oh no, this is not, no. When you have vendors that arrive and they say, okay, we are here, this is one big team, we are going to work together, we are going to find solution for everything, it's not the same mood.
This is like something very underrated, but even in the professional world, you need people.
Exactly.
This is also what I always say to my couples regarding their wedding day. Oh, man, do you have any advice, or like, do you know a photographer or whatever? Do you know any vendors? I say, I know some people. I can share the names, but it doesn't matter. The most important is that you have to find the people who are gonna say yes. Give me solutions instead of problems.
Exactly.
Oh, this is my wedding day. No, this is not possible. No, of course, not everything is possible. It's also our job to say, look, no, this is going to be difficult. We better do this or do that. But at the end of the day, you need someone who is on board with you.
It's really important, I think, also when you have like couple that are going to do destination weddings, because they are not on site, you really need to say yes to a lot of things, but not just because like of saying yes. I will say more like when you say no, they really need to understand why. To avoid to be like frustrating because they don't know sometimes like. Of course. Like for example, sometimes they didn't visit the venue, so they have something in mind that doesn't fit with the flow of the venue. So if you just say no, we are going to go that way, but you don't explain why, it can be like yes. And like this is their wedding. If they want to have something that is makeable, me like sometimes I'm just saying, okay, I will more go with that. But after, if you want that, it's your wedding. You will always have the last choice. If I can make it, I will do it.
It seems like my pitch. I say that too. I mean, I will never say no to a couple at the end.
If you can do it, why not? If that makes them happy. This is not your wedding. This is their wedding. So
I agree. Many couples on the ceremony side, they're asking me, "Oh, we're religious. Is it a problem for you to read some verses of the Bible?" I said, why would it be?
This is something that I like with you because I have some officiant that doesn't say yes about that.
Really? I mean, everybody's free. I'm not saying it's
everybody is
better.
doing like what they want for sure. But it will once again, it's really help. Like it's a big help for me, when I know that I can work with vendors that are like really open, like to create new things, to like a new type of like ceremony, like envision like different cultures, including in the same ceremony, and not just staying into like what they know and what they can do, and that's it.
Yeah, no, that's. I think it's important to be open-minded. You know, it's always everybody will agree with that, but it sounds easy, but you have to make some effort just to for something greater than you, and if a couple needs something special, this is their wedding day.
Yes.
This is the way. So, what is the future for you, Marie? We're in 2024 now, almost 2025. But where do you see yourself next year in the next 5 years? Maybe an academy?
That's a good question. Honestly, I wish that I have that answer.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know. And something that I know that I did since I opened the company, this is that I'm not really looking so much in the future. I'm just going like step by step.
Step by step.
And also finding for me now like the solution about like balancing a little bit into like working world, family world, personal life and like working life. So I will say that I know that I want to continue that journey with the couple, that we want to create still like new type of weddings, and like I love what I'm doing, and I want to continue to do that for a long time. But honestly, in 5 years, I don't know.
Good.
I really learned that now, like when you're having your own company, everything can change, and like every time that I'm just trying to take like a week of vacation, I have a couple that call me, oh Marie, we're coming to Paris. So even for vacation, it's like 1 month before minimum.
Okay. Yeah, well, no, I understand. It's really hard to picture yourself in the next 5 years. This is just something that I feel with you when I talk about your future. You're always smiling, so I still think you have this positive mindset, and I agree with the fact that we're all creating our lives and our universe. Everything comes from what we see or envision first. Your company was just an idea. Me doing ceremonies as a living as an MC was just an idea. My mom was very worried when I told her.
My mom, she's still worried. She still don't understand that I have a job because I'm not going to work
This is French, but friends, we're much like that with entrepreneur, but it's changing. Look,
it's changing.
We're
now
here.
she starts thinking, oh, okay, like you can,
well.
like you. Good. Oh, you're working? Yes, no, I'm working.
Very good. So, Marie, thank you very much for taking the time to be with me today and welcoming me in Château Bouffémont. I will put all the details of your website, your Instagram, anything if you guys are interested to talk with Marie, my guest today. Do you have something you want to say before we end?
No, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for that discussion that we have. It was a real pleasure to take the time doing that.
Yes, we need to do this more. Thanks for this lovely French accent. We will love it. Every people of the audience, English speaking, will be amazed with this. So thank you for making the time again.
Thank you.
And I'll see you somewhere in 2025.
Yes, for sure. With pleasure.
Thank you, Marie.
You're welcome.